Yo, what's going on, everybody? What's going on in my intellectual savage family out there? I'm Marcus Weeks. I'm a licensed attorney, and on this channel, hey, we're talking financial takes, financial topics. Sometimes I like to give, an attorney reaction to some current event, but at the end of the day, it's all about giving free game and empowering people so they can be better in their finances, better in their life. All that, that's the whole nine. That's the goal of the channel. Hey, as always, y'all know I got to shoot the disclaimer out there. The disclaimer is I am a licensed attorney, but I'm not y'all attorney. So what that means is this isn't legal advice or financial advice. I'm just giving my opinion, takes, letting y'all know what we got going on as my family is on that road to financial freedom and becoming first generation millionaires. Now, today's video is going to be a really dope video because I always enjoy when I get a chance to chop it up with a guest. Excuse me, this brother, I tell you, I tell you a little bit about how I found them, but before we dive in, and you'll see his YouTube link and everything will be in the bio. But this brother, Wincrease Team, is his channel name. You can go ahead and check it out. I'll put the link in the bio. But this brother, Dwayne, provides gems as it relates to, hey, how to identify trends in the stock market, how to find when the low is at its lowest, how to identify when you're probably about to break out at a high. And those are gems because in this stock game, in this investing game, is really one rule. The golden rule to investing is buy low, sell high, and being able to read the trends, read the patterns is a good way to be able to identify those lows and highs. And just think about it. Like everything that we do is a pattern. I mean, the way you go to work every day is a pattern. Your routine, your obligation is a pattern. Economic cycles is a pattern. Everything and how we move is a pattern. So definitely being able to identify that is dope. So, hey, let's go ahead, tag the homie in. And it's cool, too, to have somebody who I know is in my age bracket. Your boy DFD getting gray up here. But let's go ahead, tag him in, have him introduce himself. Then we're going to dive into today's topic where we're going to talk about fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and we're going to also chime in on some current events and just, whatever come across. This is going to be a dope. It's a free game Friday. We're going to do some structured stuff, but we also may go off the cuff a little bit. Y'all already know what it is. So let's go ahead and introduce the homie. That was real West Coast of me. Introduce the homie. What's good with you, brother? How you doing today?
What's good, brother, man? Appreciate you having me on here,
Hey,
man.
I appreciate you being able to do it. And it'll be, I wish we could have did it sooner, but at the end of the day, we got it done. And it was also cool to be able to put a face to a name, to a YouTube channel, to a TikTok when I had a chance to meet you in person, bro. Like
Yeah.
for me, I tell you right now, and you may feel the same way, but a lot of the realest ones that you're going to meet in this game and your biggest supporters are going to be people you didn't know until you started, who you
Yes.
met over the internet, man. So I'm definitely appreciative of you. And while we got you here, man, go ahead, introduce yourself to the people, tell a little bit about your background, and let everybody know where they can find you at on the social platforms.
All right. First of all, we repping Team Gray. This is what we do. I'm proud of this Gray, man. I work
Definitely, bro.
hard to do it.
It's a blessing, man.
Yeah. I'm not dying this ever, so y'all can keep those products. Yeah. I appreciate you having me on here, brother. Much love to you. Like I said, I'm going to definitely throw flowers your way, man. I've been watching you since we got introduced to each other on TikTok, and I've appreciated all the content that you've done. And I remember the first video that connected us when you was doing a freestyle. I was like, oh, that's definitely something that you definitely got in common. So yeah,
Right,
I've been digging it since, man. But
right.
Government, Dwayne, also known as Extro. That's my rap name from back in the day. And that came from when I used to DJ at a college radio station, and I came up with my name. It was actually short of extraordinaire. So instead of DJ extraordinaire, I just cut it and it was Extra, and I was there. Coincidentally, when I looked it up, it was actually like a monster. Crazy stuff. It was a monster, like it was like a 3-part series monster thing. I was like, hold up, what the? But as far as I'm concerned, man, how I got in the game, I jumped in the game because I used to rap And it was one day when I was actually mixing down some songs. I was at home, and for whatever reason, I always used to have CNBC on in the background.
Right, right.
Well, as I'm sitting there, if y'all know, usually when you're doing something, you gotta, still be in tune. So I have an ear out and then, one on ear on. So that's how I was rocking, and I was listening in the background. And all of a sudden, a commercial came on for a company called Invest Tools, and
Mm.
I heard the commercial, and something just bit me. I was like, "Yo, what is that?" I'm gonna check it out. So as it's going, I write down the number, give it a call, and I get connected with everybody, and they telling me that it was a conference that was out about 30 minutes out north of me. So I was like, all right, boom, I'm gonna go out there. So go out there, chicken the dude, couple, they telling me about options, stocks, all this stuff. Then, at the end of the thing, this is where they always get you, right? If
The
you want to get more,
right.
you gotta, so after that, everybody just, the Red Sea, all of a sudden, now you got people choosing sides. And I'm sitting there like, man, I'll blow this money on music at any point in time throughout the entire year. Why not invest in myself? That was my
Mm-hmm.
conversation to me in my head. So I was like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
let's do it. So signed it away and off I went. So came back the next day, got the next knowledge, and I kind of ran from there. Lost my money 3 times, bro. 3. And I'm still standing here. So I just let everybody know you can make it. Just make sure you re-up.
Yeah, right. So let me ask you real quick before I ask another follow up. I got a follow up on that one. And
Yeah.
hey, we all take L's. Like I
Oh
think
yeah.
Ross said it. He was like, "Hey, just because you lose a house, don't mean you're never gonna have another house again." You know what I mean? But when you took those L's, was it a day trading thing, or that's what you started out doing, or that's how it worked?
Oh yeah. So
Okay.
I'm gonna tell everybody right now what is gonna happen to you when you enter this trading game. All right, because this is the typical trading route. All right. So you get in, right? Yeah, I'm about to kill it. I'm about to get in here, I'm about to get all of this money, right? And you get, you catch that Mike Tyson, everybody got a plan till they get punched in the mouth. So
Right.
you get hit, then you stagger. You're like, all right, that hurt. Okay, let me get back in, right? You get back, boom, get you again. Like, ooh,
Hmm.
yo, can I do this?
Right.
Am
Right.
I in here? So, what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna stumble. All right, this is part of what's gonna happen to you. The stumbles are gonna happen. What you cannot do is quit. All right, because usually
Right.
what happens is you get through those stumbles and you end up identifying what's going to be the strategy for you. I often tell people when it comes to this game, everything works. No lie. In the stock game, everything works. It's all about if it fits you or not. That's all that's going to really matter because everybody's personality is not the same.
Right.
I
Right.
may
Right.
not be a day trader. I may not
Right.
be a penny stock trader. I am an options guy, but some people aren't. But there's so many different ways that you can make money in this game that all of it works as long as you apply yourself to this.
Right.
So you're going to end up looking at Forex, everything. The playbook is going to be open. You're going to try it. It's either going to work for you or not. And if it does work for you, you're going to end up fine tuning what's going to work for you and you pick what's best for you. And then you just keep moving from there. So it's about a 5 to 7 year a journey that you end up getting on before you end up finally getting to a place of comfortability.
Well, you know what yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and that's all it takes, man. After you get over that hump, that's all she wrote right there, man.
Okay, okay. So let me ask, and I always like to start out anytime I got somebody blessing the show with their presence. Tell us a little bit about your background. We had people on, and some people, they were blessed to come from households with talking about investing with dope. We have other people who tend to come from, I found out investing when investing found me. Then I found it and I learned about it. So tell us about your path, just growing up until you got into the investment game.
All right, so I'm the typical story that you're gonna hear about a black man in America.
Right, right,
Single family household. My mom's had me young and had to do what she had to do, work 2, 3 jobs and all that. So having to have discipline and guidance and all that stuff. I'm the firstborn, and I want to say it was natural, but I also want to say the environment also kind of, molded me into what I had to do.
Right.
So I didn't have on any of that financial structure growing up because it wasn't there. My mom's was doing what she had to do.
Right. Right. Right.
She was married, then she remarried, met my dad, who is now in my life
Mm-hmm,
at
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
13, and he also provided structure for who I am as a man now. And
Right.
side note, yo, we need fathers. Straight
Yeah.
up. We
Yo,
need
I got a whole video I'm gonna do where I'm gonna have a male family law attorney who do child support, and we're gonna talk about the family structure, the financial consequences of divorce, and
mm,
from the current event side, we're gonna talk a little bit about 50 Cent and his son in
mm,
that whole situation. But yeah, I agree, man. A male presence in the household is just as important as a female presence. There, there are some things that uh,
woman just
a
can't
male can
do.
influence on a
Yeah.
child that a female can't, and vice versa.
Right,
If
right,
if if I had just my daughter and me, there's things that I'm not going to have no clue of
right.
that only a woman can impart that knowledge on, and I acknowledge that. So you definitely right about that, bro.
Yeah, yeah. We jumped off, but yeah.
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, you definitely
Listen,
right.
listen.
That's a real point, though, man.
Oh,
That's
listen, man. We definitely can get back into that one. But
definitely,
yeah,
definitely.
my dad who came in my life, amazing guy, and he definitely put the structure into me as far as discipline is concerned. And in order to get to the finance part of things, that didn't really come into my life until about 19,
Mhm.
like the inklings of it. Everybody always has, I got a hip hop background, so all the rappers always talked about money. Everybody talked about money.
Right, right, right,
There's
right,
people in my, high school and all that dealing drugs and all that good stuff. Some people, went to McDonald's and all that. Everybody was always talking about money,
right,
but we never knew how to use it, right?
right.
You get it, and the first thing you do is get something flashy to let
Of
everybody
course.
know you got money, right?
Right,
So,
right,
or you get something that you can't really afford to make people think you got more money than you really got.
right, right, right,
So anyway, that was the little bit of a basis of it. It wasn't until I was like 19 that I really started thinking more about the investment side of things. So from there is when I started doing a rap, and I started to rap with the premise of using it as a vehicle to jump into something else because I never
right,
really thought of myself as a long time rapper. I
right, right,
really
right,
looked at it as, okay, we're gonna get this money from here, and I'm gonna flip that into doing something else
right,
and
right,
branch
right,
myself out. And basically LL Cool J, Most Def, Method
right, right,
Man,
right,
one of those type of routes where it gives you the platform, and then you boost yourself up from that work.
right, right.
So the investment side of things, like I said, came from that, and then the whole CNBC thing, and then just running from there. So that's how it all started out.
Okay, okay, that's an interesting background. I ain't gonna put you on the spot, throw a beat on, ask you to freestyle, but yeah, hey, your boy DFD, man, I used to back in my early days. Hey, open mic night freestyle sessions. Hey, man, I will let you know,
Yeah.
man. I was okay.
No,
I can't.
you
I
nice
can't
with it.
I can't write, but I can freestyle. I can't. It's
Listen,
weird. I don't have the mental capacity to sit there. I could do it. I don't like doing it. I'd rather somebody put a beat on it and just let me go.
yo,
But that's that's
yeah,
that's a whole nother video. Maybe I do a part two financial freestyle. I don't know. But
we could do it later.
but before we, hey, I'm down, bro. Before we talk about the fundamental and technical analysis and explain what they are and define them, I want to give this quick story on how I met you. It's funny because you said I came across you when I did that financial rap, and after I did that, and I don't even know what made me think about that. You know what made me think about it? I got this microphone right here in front of me. And everybody in my comments was like, "Man, that microphone dope. What, you a rapper now?" And so I said, unbeknownst to them, a lot of people don't know that I got a little bit of
Bars.
wordplay on me.
Yeah.
I have a robust vocabulary. I'm like, like, come on, man. I am an attorney. I got a robust vocabulary, and I can think quick on my feet. And so, because of that comment, I made a joke. I said, I'm gonna do a freestyle, and that's what made me do it. After I did it, I said, man, this is actually dope, man. Financial freestyle. Is anybody doing this? And so I started Googling and YouTubing financial freestyle, and you popped up. That's the
Oh,
that
okay.
you was the when I Googled financial freestyle, I did a TikTok search for it. You were like the number one search for finance, hip hop, financial freestyle.
That's
And
what
I
I'm
was like,
talking about.
this
That's
brother
how it
knows
works.
something. So I just wanted to give you a gem. That's how I found you. By I was like, man, is anybody doing financial rap like that? And you came up. So hey, shout out to you because there's a unique lane. And hey, you at the top of the algorithm. If you search finance hip hop, your shit was the first to pop up, bro.
Hey, that's good right there because I put in the work on that. Listen, bro, when I thought of this whole lane, right, I
Right,
talked to my partner and I was like, yo, what do you think about this? He's like, yo, I think that's dope. Go with it, right? So I started it. Before I started it, I was researching what I could do, right? And I was like, okay, is anybody else doing this? So first thing I did, I typed in stock market hip hop.
right,
Right. There was one guy that came up on Instagram, and then everything else is like old articles from like mid whatever,
right, right, right,
2010, 15 or whatever. So I
right.
was bet I'm taking this over, right? So I'm like, all right, I know a little bit of SEO. So I just made sure that all my stuff had stock market hip hop in it. And then just continued to check Google to see if I would pop up. And then within like 2 days, I was at the top already. I'm like,
Yeah, man.
say no
Very
more, I'm
small,
here.
yeah, very small window. It was all you. I was like, damn. I put his name. The first 2, 3 clicks was you. I was like, okay, that's like he cornered the market. I'm
Yeah.
late. I thought I invented something.
Yep. Here I am, man. I got here right before you. If it weren't for
Yeah.
me doing it that soon, you would
Right,
have got
right.
me.
I thought I was on to something. I saw you. I was like, oh, the homie had the idea first, man. So we're gonna dive in a little bit to technical and fundamental analysis. We'll define them. So let's go ahead and start out. Um, Go ahead. We'll kick it back and forth. First, I'm gonna have you throw out the definition for technical analysis. Talk a little bit about what it is, how is advantageous, the pros and cons. Then I'll flip it. I'm gonna go through a little bit on the opposite side. Then we're gonna punt the ball around and talk about, hey, which one is more advantageous, which one is the way to go. Then after that, we're gonna spin off on something else. So go ahead, give us the scoop, man, on your baby, man, your lifeline, man. When you get to the technical stuff.
Yeah, that's what I love doing. So, technical analysis. First thing is first. I'm going to be the guy that's going to transcend this to the urban community, right? I
Right,
feel very, very strongly about this because I know what it is in those neighborhoods to see the images of you, right? When I
right,
grew up, all I saw was I had an out as a basketball player,
yeah,
as a football player, as a rapper. Okay. There was three routes that I saw. All right. Or the infamous one, the drug.
exactly, yeah,
So that's what I saw. And then of course, we always had, I don't want to say lack of jobs, but I want to say personally, there was really much a lack of jobs, right? You weren't
mm-hmm.
hiring brothers, right? So, of course, what did that leave us to do to get money? The things that we weren't supposed to. So, anyway, I knew that when I got into this position to learn this skill, I said, I'm definitely going to come back. I'm going to teach all the kids. Like I teach my daughters this stuff, right? I want to be
Right,
able to, this is how I actually break my stuff down. If I can teach my daughter how it is, then I can teach an adult. That's how
right, right, right,
my
right,
first, classroom that I run this stuff through to make sure that it works. So,
right, right, right,
anyway, technical analysis. I'm getting rid of the word, all right, because it doesn't sound sexy at all. It's very intimidating when you even hear the word
right,
technical,
right, 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 right,
and then you think analysis, like, ugh, you cringe, right?
right,
So I'm rephrasing it as protecting your money. All right. That's what all we doing because that's something that everybody understands. Protection, right? Money, we got it. All right. Boom. So now we're protecting our money. All we're doing is we are looking at a chart, which is also an emotional display of traders, what they are doing, and you are doing the scouting report. All right. You're doing the scouting report on what that price could potentially do. All right. Is that
mm,
price going to go to the left? It's going to go right. That's exactly what a scouting report is. You look at the tendencies and you pick up on those things. And once you identify them, then you take advantage of them. And
Right,
that's all
right.
you typically do. So technical analysis no more. We're protecting our charts. I mean, protecting our money, and we're reading the scouting report. That's how I'm looking at it from now on.
Okay. All right, that's a dope definition. Damn, you put the pressure on me. I ain't got nothing cool for fundamental analysis, but I, I, I guess if I got to break it down and keep it in a simplistic term, I look at fundamental analysis as the common sense approach. If you want to take a common sense approach with minimal effort, for me, I define that as fundamental analysis. And really, what it is just fundamentals. It's the same things that you would look at. If you're going to go out and cop a car, man, I want to get a Tesla. So I save up my money, or I want to get a whatever. The first thing you do is you're going to look at the car, you're going to research the price, you're going to look at the is there any recalls on it? You're going to look at you're going to look all the fundamentals about that car is the
Right.
same thing, and the same thing when you're doing a fundamental analysis. You're looking at the basic foundations of the company. How long have they been in existence? What's
Mhm.
their profit ratio? How much debt are they carrying? Who is their CEO? What was the last thing their CEO did? Did their CEO work for a company that went bankrupt? You're going to look at all of those basic things that would make something and give something like, based on all of these basic fundamental concepts of this company, this looks like a company that's going to be stable. A Lowe's, a Walmart, a
Right.
Pfizer. Those are the companies that, and you'll know them when you'll see them, because those are companies that if you buy stock, they've been paying dividends for 35 years. You for every share of that stock you own, you get paid once a quarter or
Yep.
once a month. And it's companies who's been paying dividends for over 30 years, and their dividends have been going up every year. So that's the telltale sign that if you see a company like that, it's probably a good foundation, fundamental, common sense approach to picking a stock. So tell us a little bit about, so now that we know what both of them are, uh, I guess give us an overview of what makes the advantages and the benefits of the technical analysis side, from being able to play that, hey, protect your money, play that defense, and identify those patterns. And for everybody watching, I'm actually going to put a link in the description and in the pinned comment to a video that you can find on this channel that'll actually break down. This is how you do a technical analysis. This is what you look for on the chart. This is the trends. I'm going to give y'all all those gems. Right now, we're just going to kind of talk it through, the pros, the cons, the benefits, what it is. And then you can circle back, check out the link in the description. And in that first pinned comment, I'm going to put it so you can go back and actually get the breakdown, because this is free game. It's cats out here. Before I even pass it back to you, it's cats out here who charging hundreds of thousands of dollars to sit in the classroom
Thousands.
and teach people this is how you read a chart. And this brother is giving it to you for free. So hey, free 99 is a price you
That's
can't beat.
nice.
Yeah, so I wanted to throw that out. Now give us some of the advantages of being able to play that defense and be able to identify what's going on.
All right. So the biggest advantage to doing protecting your money is getting in at the best prices possible,
Mm,
especially in a market like we are in right now, where things are going pretty volatile. If you identify what is the best possible price area that you can get into, then you limit your risk. And what I say by that is if you get in at a specific price that you identified as the best that you can get, then the likelihood of that price falling from that price isn't that high. All right.
mm-hmm,
And on top of that, if let's say if it does fall below that price, chances are it will come back
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
for
mm-hmm.
that price. Okay. So you have defended yourself in two ways. One, you've given yourself the best possible entry. So if it does go up from there, you have appreciation. Two, if it does fall lower, then you've at least insulated yourself, because when, and I mean when, because the stock market always comes back,
Right,
it
right.
comes back, it will likely come back to that price that you purchased at. And at that time, you can make a decision on whether you want to part your ways with it, or if you want to say, I'm still holding, I'm good. So
Mm,
that's the benefit to reading a chart and identifying what is the best possible entry.
Right, right. And I tell you that's that's the first thing that I thought of, because I was like, everybody talk about dollar cost averaging, and dollar cost averaging is just Reader's Digest version. Damn, that's old. But Reader's Digest version of dollar cost averaging is you invest a certain amount like clockwork every month or every
Yep.
week, and you do that consistently, even if the market is up, if the market is down. But over the long run, you're going to have an average buy-in price that's a really good price if you do
Yep.
that consistently. And so, when we flip it over to the fundamental side, I would say the biggest advantage for me for fundamental side is that it depends on you. You started this whole video out by saying that everything works. It's just a matter of what works for you. What's your best mechanism? Are you an options guy? Are you an index fund guy? Are you a single stock guy? And so for me, I think the advantage was it was advantageous for me to use a fundamental approach because I really wasn't sure what would work for me. What was my approach? And so,
Mhm.
it was one of those things where I didn't know if I know about options and I know how to do it. I know about call and put options and how to make money when it goes down, but I heard so many horror stories. So for me, that was kind of I took the approach that I deemed at the time was this is the easiest, safest approach where I could put this amount in every 2 weeks on payday and not look at it and not worry about it. So that was the advantage for me. Now, I will tell you, when you talked about the advantages of being able to look at the technicals, I opened a few single stock portfolios,
Uh-huh.
and this is where I'm realizing I actually need to get in there and start looking at those charts, because I would identify a stock, I see the dip, and I'm like, oh, the dip came. This is a good price. Then when I buy it, the dip dips. And I'm like, damn, if I would have been able to read that chart, I could have anticipated that it was going to drop another 5 or 7%, and I could have put this money in at that time. So definitely, I agree with you that that's advantageous. Now, let me ask: when you're talking about the technical analysis, uh, protecting your money, we're gonna call it.
There we go.
We
Yeah, yeah.
talk about protecting your money, looking at the patterns so you can know how to move. And is that something that works for all commodities, or is it just something that's just solely a stock thing? Can someone use that same philosophy to identify trends in the housing market, to identify trends in the crypto market?
Absolutely. So one of my things, like for my job, right? When I first
Mhm,
started actually transcending my talents that I have for stocks, I started applying that for my job. So when I was a buyer, right,
mhm,
one of the things that I had to do is I started picking up on commodities like plastics and oil and all that
mhm,
stuff.
mhm, mhm, mhm.
And so I started looking at it. I was like, this is the same exact stuff I look at on a regular basis in the morning.
Right.
Say no more. I started doing it there, and I started doing the forecast, for my job, saying, yo, this is likely to go up because of XYZ. This is likely to go down because of XYZ, whatever. And then it also gave me the negotiation tool to say, that's not right. At this point in time, these prices were correlated to this, so all of that stuff came in handy, on the job site. So yes, all of that stuff transcends forex, commodities, stocks, crypto, housing market. And then to tie along into this, why I strongly believe that everybody can do this is because we all protect something, right? We all are technical analysts of some scale. All right. And the biggest thing that I tell everybody is gas prices. Everybody understands what's happening with gas prices right now in this current environment, right? We all know in our areas what is a high gas price and what is a low gas price. And what's a
Right, right.
medium one, right? Everyone knows this. When you drive by, you see, I ain't getting gas right now because it's this price or whatever. I'll either wait or whatever. That's technical analysis, bro.
Right, 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 right.
Everybody does it, right? You go
Right.
into the store and you go, we got daughters, right? So my daughters are like, I want to get this Barbie, and I look at the price like, nah, we ain't getting that. That's way too high over here. We're gonna go over here to go get it at that. That's technical analysis, right? When
Right,
you,
right, right,
like you just mentioned the whole thing with the Tesla, right? Let's say in part of that, you're looking at all of that stuff, but then you start looking at prices. You pull up your app, cars.com, auto trader, whatever you may be looking at, and you start looking at the prices, right? That's technical
right, right,
analysis.
right,
All of that
right,
stuff is something that we all inherently do. So this is why I have strong confidence that anybody can do this.
right.
Like, I am not something super special that just God just picked out. I'm just here to help everybody realize their true power and put it in the chart form. So that's exactly what I love doing, man.
So let me ask you, what is the best way? And I say this because, man, there's so many YouTubers out there who identify, like, one of the games in social media is buy my masterclass, and in my masterclass, I'm gonna tell you how to make a masterclass and make money selling a masterclass. Like, it's so much gamesmanship in the course. It's like, dog, I'm gonna do a whole video one day just on the BS out there that people are selling. So, if I'm really new to investing, right? Let's say I just did the what I like to call the first steps of investing. The first steps of investing for me is you got a little bit of an emergency fund. There you go. Yeah, of your you're taking advantage of your 401k match, and maybe you got an IRA, right? So that's like the common stability of investment. But now you want to move on to, man, I want to start looking at some single stocks. I want to start buying this stuff. Best route to go to kind of get this information outside of your page. Your page is the first one. Your page is the first one. But I know you talked about the course, but how did that course teach you? Is that where you learned how to be able to look at the trends and the patterns, or you did just open source research on your own, or what?
Everything I got, I'm built from the ground up. So that
Mm,
course that I took was really an introductory course that was teaching you the system that Invest Tools has. So they gave you like this little book, and it ran down like how to use their system. And at that time, Invest Tools was with Thinkorswim. So it was like a package. So they
mm,
used Thinkorswim at that time in order to teach how to find and use the tools that they had already and use those to find stocks. So obviously, Invest Tools is gone. Thinkorswim is now gone, which is turned into TD Ameritrade. TD
right.
Ameritrade is now gone, which is turned into Charles Schwab. So all of that stuff is, kind of in the past. But yeah, I'm totally built up from the ground. Everything that I got in me is because I hit the ground and I just started running. I was hungry and I was looking for it. Got it out of books, got it out of free courses, got it off the internet, got it just from everywhere possible. If it was information, I was gobbling it, man. I was hungry and I was really on it. So that's how I got everything that I got in my head right now.
Okay, so let me ask right now, and I know you mentioned a little bit about options now. Now, are you more of a do you consider yourself a trader, or you're more of an investor?
Investor.
Okay.
Um, in this market right now, I'm doing a little bit more trading, but I'm
Mm-hmm.
definitely investor. And that's something that I preach to everybody because it's very simple. I mean, what the trading stuff is the part that everybody gets confused with what really happens in the market. And that's another thing. Like that embodies, a totally different energy. Investing is something that everybody should be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that's the part that everyone just kind of glances over, like that 5, 10, 15 year return. That's stuff that people really don't really think about because they look at the AMCs, the Game Stops, and they look at, the crypto and the penny and
Mm-hmm.
say, something goes from 0.0001 to 0.0002, and they like, oh,
Yeah, I made a milli.
yeah,
I put 1,000 and I became a Bitcoin or Shiba Inu millionaire. Right.
yeah. Everybody expects to just throw a $50, bill in there and come out a millionaire. And it's, yo, this is blood, sweat, and tears, man. You got to really put in some work here and just let your money work. Don't
Right, right, right,
get
right, right,
out. We don't. You get grades naturally. You know what I mean?
right,
Don't
right,
force it, right?
right, right. Not because of stress.
Yeah.
Right. I agree. For me, and hey, it's funny because all that crazy ass stuff you name, I own a little bit of all that. So don't talk about me, man.
No, no, I'm not talking about nobody, man. Like I said, it
I
worked.
got a little AMC. I'm running that as a play. I should have sold that shit a long time ago. Part of my language. I got a little Shiba Inu. I flipped that one into a profit, so I'm just letting the profits ride. But I'll tell you, for me, probably where I guess using the protect your money approach, where I'm looking at the charts, is big with me for crypto. And
Okay.
I'll tell you why. Because my single stock portfolio is just so young and new. I only started it a year. Like, when I become a first generation millionaire, I'm gonna be a first generation 401k, Roth IRA,
Mm-hmm.
property value millionaire. Then
Yeah,
once
all
I
of
hit
that.
that, I'm gonna probably make a curve, and I'm probably gonna do a little bit of more options. But crypto is really the only thing that I say I would trade, and I don't do it that often. But sometimes I do see something like, and I'll take one of my big holdings is Ethereum, right? And I know
Okay.
at one point that shit was almost $7,000. And
Yeah.
I was
It's
buying it
nice.
then. And once everybody started talking about crypto when it's coming, then I saw China put out something saying we banning all crypto. When I actually took a look at it, I was like, man, this happens every 5 to 7 years.
It's a cycle.
Literally,
Mhm.
every 5 to 7 years, the crypto market has this winner where it just goes to the lowest of the lows. It bounces, it pulls back from all-time highs. And so I said to myself, you know what? I'm going to rack up right now. So I was like, I wanted a full Ethereum token. I damn sure got it. I've been going hard on Ethereum, Cardano, because I was able to look at the chart and just see the trend. What is the trend with this? And I think the other thing that you talk about is, you mentioned it at the beginning. You said, hey, when you're protecting your money and you're looking at the trends, we're looking at how people are reacting. That's what the chart
Yes,
shows. The
that's
chart
it.
shows how people, or the market, the buyers and the sellers, are actually reacting.
Yep.
So talk a little bit about, like, how much of the market itself is just based on the emotion of what's going on in the environment as a whole.
I'm gonna say 100%, and I'm gonna say
Right.
that because everything you see on the chart is purely emotion. Everything that is money related is purely emotion. People make emotional decisions on their money on a regular basis. That's why you can look at a chart and you can gauge what direction is going, what's likely going to happen based off of that. Just because you look at the past, and not to say that it's always perfect,
Yeah.
but you can typically look at a prior trend and it will repeat. Like,
Hmm.
it's like any other human, right? I bring up the whole scouting report again, right? I used to drive right. Okay. So the scouting report would obviously say, what? This guy drives right. Push him to where? The left. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
if you push me to the left, I get uncomfortable. Then all of a sudden I'm going to make a turnover. Right. That's the
Hmm.
same type of deal that you're dealing with in the stock
Hmm.
market. All right. If you're looking at it and say, okay, the price, when it gets here, this is what it typically does. All right. Just like you notice in a whole crypto world. Okay. 5 to 7 cycle. Boom. What year are we at? Oh, snap. We're in year 5. Ring, ring, ring.
Right. Right. Right.
Let me get out, right? Y'all
Right.
can have a bonus 2 years if y'all got it, but I don't care. I got mine. That's all that matters.
Hmm.
But this is what the whole game is about, man. Emotion. Once I started to pick apart the psychology of things, that's when I started getting deadly, because I realized that those candles represent emotion of what's going on in the market with people making decisions with their money. That's it. And that's why I love being able to come back and tell people, yo, this game is super simple. Really. You understand people, boom. Then you understand the chart.
Right. 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 Right.
As simple as it's going to be.
So let me ask another question, and this is still on the investing side, but like, okay, we seen where you started from, how you got the knowledge on how to move in the stock market after swinging and missing a few times. Now you
Mhm.
got it. what is the end game for you? Are you one of those I want to retire early people, financial independence, retire early? For you, is it about just like, you know what? I want to just be comfortable. Like, what is kind of, you know, 25 years from now, right? Let's say, because me and you, we graduated the same year, I think. You know what I mean? If 25 years from now, what do you hope the landscape is as it relates to your finances and your life of all the efforts and stuff that you're putting in right now?
Listen, I'm not greedy. So comfortability is a level that I've already written down for what I need personally. Like I look at a whole lot of entertainers and all of that stuff and seeing the money that they got, and then they all end up broke, right? Because they ended up overspending or they got too many people in their lives that are hands on with their money without them knowing. So I said to myself, this is the number I need. This is what I need. I can get a little bit more than that, but I swear if I get anything more than that, I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm going to likely just try to help somebody else out because I
Right,
also
right,
was on the other end of the tracks where, yo, we might not have had a place to sleep, or lights didn't cut on or
right,
stuff
right,
like that.
right.
So that's very vivid in my mind. So if I get to that spot where I get extra, I'm definitely gonna be putting in work to let everybody know, yo, there's something out here. And then at the same time, I'm gonna have to teach you how to fish because
Right, right,
one
right.
of the things you can't just keep giving fish out, right? You
Right, 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 right.
got to go out there and cast that reel yourself. So yeah, that's my level. I'm definitely want to do that. And then my ultimate end game is this is gonna be the first time that it's done here. I want to end up putting firms in urban neighborhoods, right?
Mhm,
I want
mhm.
everybody to understand right now. If you go to an affluent neighborhood right now, what you're gonna see is you're gonna see different food. Okay, you're gonna have different type of supermarkets there that have different type of foods there. All right. You're going to also see investment firms in those neighborhoods. That's how you know you're in a good neighborhood. You're not going to see three churches on the same block. All
Right.
right.
Pawn shop.
Yeah, you're not going to see that because
Right,
that's not
right.
the type of environment that thrives in. So I want to be the first to bring an investment firm to an urban neighborhood, teach the children in elementary schools, bring them up because the children are going to go out to their families. They're going to be excited about what they have. The parents are going to either pick up on it or not, and the children are going to talk amongst themselves. And then that's it, man. That's the first generation right there.
Right,
After that, this game over. And then all of a
right,
sudden, you come back. We own the neighborhoods
right, right.
instead of being the renters and all of that stuff. All of that changes just from a concept of that. So I want to be able to make it to that level, go back to these areas, be the one to help show them the path, let them know their power, and then we just take off from there.
Yo, that's definitely dope, man. And you actually kind of gave me a great pivot from talking about the fundamental and protecting your assets with the technical, because you talked about wanting to go back and make sure we got the investment firms and those structures in the urban neighborhoods that used to create wealth where they can get the access to that thing. And this kind of curves into your ballpark, man, because and I know you're gonna know exactly what rap song I'm talking about, what video I'm talking about, but the lesson didn't hit me until I got older, right? Nelly video. And there's a scene from a Nelly video. You tell me what song this is so y'all can look it up. If I play the song, they gonna block it. It's a scene from a Nelly video where they stop rapping and the guy's walking up, and there's Nelly and a bunch of his boys on the corner, and there's a kind of nerdy looking white guy who walks up and he steps on Nelly's shoe. And Nelly like, yo, what are you doing? You just stepped on my $500 shoes. And the guy walking up like, man, first of all, those are knockoffs, and I didn't step on your shoes. So Nelly's response to the guy is, what are you even doing here in my neighborhood? He said, who told you you can come around here? This is my neighborhood. And he was like, your neighborhood? I own this house, that house, and those two houses down there. And then Nelly turned and looked at all his boys and was like, oh. And so when I saw that initially as a kid, you know what video that is?
I kind of vaguely remember what it was.
uh, Nelly stepped on my J's. Oh man, ain't no way, man! You done stepped on my J's, and it was Nelly, Jermaine Dupri, and Sierra. But that
I don't remember that one.
you gotta watch that video.
I'll
Is a
definitely.
segment where this guy they like, man, you told you could come on this block, and the guy was like, I own this house, that house, that house, and that house, and that goes to your point where we want to teach those lessons. You want to instill those institutions in the community so we can own in the places where we stay. And
Yes.
so that goes to a common a thing that we hear so much in hip hop, but is not actually executed that often. By the block. Yeah,
Yep.
the phrase by the block, man. So what you're talking about is essentially empowering, people who look like you, minorities, to
Yes.
be in a position to get the information and by the block. What is it though that you think? Because I can tell you, this is a DFCD segue right here. But I can tell you, in the neighborhood I grew up in, it's funny. I was talking to my partner about this, but I said in the neighborhood I grew up in, I could remember and it wasn't where I grew up at, it wasn't really like a gang type of thing. It was just
I
you all
wasn't back
grew up, yeah, you all grew
then.
up in the neighborhood. This is just kind of all your boys because y'all go to school together, y'all see each other every day. So it was kind of just more of a this is our neighborhood. We all go to the same school type of thing. I wouldn't say
Right.
anybody had gang names or affiliation or crew names like that. But I can remember as a young man growing up, and this is young, real young in high school, but people carry this into adulthood. I see it all the time where people are willing to lay down their life, dog,
Over a block.
that they rent.
Don't
They
even
stay in an
own.
apartment. They don't even own the property there, man.
Mm-hmm.
So like what is it? And I know the main thing is education, man, but let's talk a little bit about that mentality, right? That mentality of defending your block. And this is a fair question. And I think it is talking about we on hip hop and finance right now, but I think this
Yeah.
is a fair question. Does hip hop deserve any blame for that mentality of defending the block that's not yours, that you don't own? What are your thoughts on that? If somebody said, hey, hip hop has to eat some of the accountability in this mentality, what would you say if somebody told you that? What's your thoughts?
Hmm. All right. So we're gonna bust it down like this. When we talk about the defending your block mentality, right? In the neighborhoods that you and I grew up in, it was a killer be killed type mentality. It was survival, right? It was nothing about it that we looked at as abundant, right? That we had plentiful resources. We looked at everything as very finite, and that the only way you would get it is to strong arm muscle or do something to somebody to exert your dominance, right? Because
Right,
that's
right.
what we knew when we saw it, and we obviously was monkey see, monkey do, right? No play on monkey. Don't do that. So
we tried
I
it. It's a copycat league.
so I say that because we did what we saw. All right. And that's not to our fault because it was crabs in a barrel, basically, right? That's the
Mhm.
whole syndrome of it. So we always duplicated exactly what was in our neighborhood. So when we came out as rappers and all of that stuff from those environments, we obviously talked about what was around us, right? So
Right.
it was great to hear because it was dignifying to understand that I'm not the only one experiencing this right now, right? There's
Right.
other neighborhoods going through the same exact thing throughout the entire US. So then we flip the switch, right? All of a sudden now this becomes popular and mainstream, right?
Mm-hmm.
At what point in time do we start to think that that message that we're conveying is ours? Okay. Now we're talking to millions more of people and they're all doing it. And then all of a sudden, you got affluent neighborhoods trying to act like they from Queensbridge,
Right.
and it's like,
Right. Right. Right.
well, what was the disconnect here? Y'all not from here, where I'm from in Brooklyn, we saw stuff like that, right? And it's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we clown people like that. So to answer your question, I say yes and no. I say no because we only knew what we knew at that point in time. Then, as we became prevalent in society with that message, somebody needs to sit there and think, yo, look at what I'm saying, and then look at what they're doing, right? Like
Right,
the
right,
whole Dave Chappelle thing, like why he stepped away from doing a Chappelle show because he realized the power of his words. And he's like, wait a minute, yeah, I can't say specific things like this, but when I say the N-word,
right, right, right,
it's
right,
like, hold up, this ain't right, Like even the whole thing that's going on with Kanye, same type of situation, right?
right,
Here, kill this person, do this to this woman, right? Do all the things that's negative, but you say that word,
right, right,
all of a sudden everybody disconnecting from you, right? That's the power of words, right? Because we
right.
we know that. So understanding that, if that would have been implied, I want to say at like mid 90s, right? When we really started to gain some traction going on
Mm-hmm.
with hip hop, I feel like that trajectory would have definitely changed had something like that been implemented.
Right, right, right. I agree, man, and I think is a, for me, I think is a natural progression process. I feel like hip hop started out telling the story. So you're going
Yes.
to have a period where people are just telling the story of what it is. But then it takes an evolution of artists and people to say, well, you know what? The story's been told. Let's talk about what we can do to change the narrative of the story that we're seeing. And so
Yep.
I think that's kind of where hip hop took a turn. I say probably for me, like in the 2010s, you start to see a lot more rappers talking about things that were conscious. Or if they didn't talk about something that was conscious, you seen rappers that would actually come out on front. Because back in the day, in the 90s, man, you wouldn't see rappers come out saying that, oh man, we just very few rappers would talk about this as an art form. No, they was actually out there.
Yeah, they was out there.
Yeah,
Like
they was actually out there. Yeah,
that
they
was the
was
whole
actually
thing with hip hop back then. Like if you weren't living the lifestyle that you was talking about,
right.
that was
But
that was something that was corny. So
but
you couldn't do that.
yeah, but the thing is now, like, it, I don't know, it's weird because it took a weird shift where, like, okay, they were talking about the lifestyle, and these were people who were really living it. Then it was like a shift where you had some rappers being conscious and talking that. Now it seems like is a trend where the money in hip hop now is as big as it's ever going to be. I mean, and that ever, it's probably going to get larger, but I mean, you talk about cats. Think about it, it, this is my opinion. You can chime in because you're a little bit more touched down to the street. But I'm like, man, I think right now in this age of technology and streaming is a lot easier for artists to get their music out than somebody who had to sell shit out the trunk of their cars back
That's
in the 90s. Your music, you could get it out to people and it's on a platform in 5 seconds just
yep,
from your phone.
just from your
But
phone. That's as
but
easy.
now it's like a trend where okay, artists are making more money than ever. They still rapping about street stuff, and even though they don't have to live this street life, they got all of the resources. I'm used to artists not having resources, and then they get in trouble because they
Yep.
really don't got the resources. Now it's kind of the opposite, where you see a lot of these young artists, Gunna, Young Thug, they got the resources. They made the millions of dollars, but it's
Man,
like they going back to the life, or they staying in the life that they rapping about. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, and it goes back to what you said. I remember you said at one point, growing up, we would see the guy who was privileged and he was trying to be hood, and you like, man, why you doing that? You don't got it.
yeah.
Why you standing on the corner, bro? Your mother and your father there, and your mother's a nurse, and your dad. Like, if I'm gonna use an example, Biggie Smalls was a privileged kid.
Big, yeah,
He,
yeah,
if you hear his mother talk, it was really no need for him to be out on the corner doing anything because his mom's
yeah,
had some resources, but he was
yeah.
still out there. So is it a I need this street cred to solidify who I am? Is it I gotta act this way to validate myself for other people. It could be a combination of all, man. But for me, it just don't make no sense. When I see, as an attorney, when I see, damn, 5 young rappers all under the age of 27 who got are multimillionaires caught up on RICO charges. They done.
That's a it's
It's a
over.
wrap.
They not playing when they hit you with the Rico. It's over.
Yeah, but it takes away the resources, man. Like when you got to fight a RICO charge, dog. If you got
They
millions, that's
lock
gone.
all your money down.
That's
That's the
a
whole thing that happened with Irv Gotti and all that. That's
yeah.
yeah.
He beat the case, but his wallet wasn't big
Oh
enough.
yeah, his wallet got beat up though. So did he really win?
So yeah, my point exactly. So when you talk about the power of music and the power of words, like man, I could listen to a song and that shit will emotionally change how I feel in the moment.
Yeah.
So
Listen,
with hip hop being that influential, like I don't know, man. I feel like I don't know if we'll ever get to a point where like is I don't know if we would ever get to a point where kind of that hood mentality, that gangster mentality is something that's talked about, but is where we would get to a point where it's something that people can listen to without wanting to emulate or taking it as cute, cool. You know what I mean?
we'll never get there. We're human. Like
Right, right,
we
right.
want to emulate things that we think is cool, no matter what. We did all the stupid stuff, right? You watch wrestling as a growing up, right? You was jumping on mattresses, slamming people, suplexing.
I still do that shit
Yes,
sometimes.
we was doing all that stupid clotheslining. We was doing all that stupid stuff, right? Because we saw it, so we thought it was cool. Like, yo, little Timmy, come here. Ah, yeah.
Right, 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 right.
We
Facts,
was
facts.
doing it, but that's part of the allure of it, right? Is it's something that you sell, and people are either going to, gravitate towards it, or they're going to, it's not really me, or you have that intellectual part of yourself that understands that it's just entertainment,
Yeah,
right?
you can separate the two.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
you can play Grand Theft Auto and not want to go rob somebody. You know, not say take it too far and go,
Right, right, right.
not do
So
that. But yeah, go ahead.
let me ask you, man. Let's kick it back to the let's turn it back to the finance side, right? And this is something that I want to do with every guest that I got on the show for now on. All right, we're gonna play a quick game. I like to call this financial overrated or underrated. All
All
right.
right.
I'm gonna toss out a topic and I want you to chime in. Is it overrated, underrated? I guess I give you rated properly as a response. Okay. So
I'm
the
going
first thing
over
is
under.
yeah, over under is more. So first thing we're gonna throw out there is the fire movement, financial independence, retire early. Is it overrated or underrated?
I think it's totally underrated. And I think it's totally underrated for the fact that there's so much money out here, right? One of
Hmm.
the things that I got my eyes open to when we connected at FinCon was I had no idea how much YouTube money was out there, right?
Right.
And with the whole thing with the pandemic and the shift and the mental shift that people went through at that point was they realized the value of their time. So now moving forward, you see that shift in the work environment. Now you see more remote jobs. You start to see more flexibility in these jobs because people got used to that real fast.
Right. Right.
And
Right. Right.
now you can't just all of a sudden just drag that back and say come in the office. Nope. Now you
Right.
got to make that permanent. So I think it's totally underrated for the fact that everybody understands the value of time a little bit clearer now that they went through that and they want to work towards that. And I think having that independence, retiring early is something that's going to drive that a little bit further.
Okay, so we completely opposite because I think the fire movement is overrated as hell. Financial financial independence, retire early is overrated as hell, and
Ah,
this is my
go
opinion
ahead.
why it's overrated. Okay, and I know there are 60,000 different variations of financial independence rally. There's fat fire and barista fire. I don't care. I'm just looking at the basic terminology: financial independence retire early. I know maybe two people who were financially independent and retired early and truly satisfied what I like to call the definition of retire early. If you are financially independent and you retire early from your 9 to 5 job as a teacher, but you are a full-time YouTuber making YouTube content every week, yeah, it's not retired. I don't want to hear the financial. You got financial independence. Maybe you retire from that job, but you ain't retired early
I
because putting
retired.
out, man, man, these people put out 2, 3. You heard those guys at FinCons? They putting out 2, 3 videos a day.
Videos a day. I
Two,
was saying,
three videos a
yeah,
day, dog. That's a job for your ass.
listen,
so,
listen.
so me personally, I think the financial independence, retire early thing is a little bit overrated. I'll give it credit because I think that if you're planning and you're moving as if you want to hit financial independence so you can retire early, I'm a strong proponent of having a plan is better than having no plan.
Right.
So I think it helps in that regard. You have a plan and structure, but like I said, I know two people who actually retired early and they didn't do. For me, I don't consider it an early retirement if I switch one full-time job to another full-time job. You know what I mean? I just think that's financial independence, work optional, maybe, or 1099. I went from a W-2 to a 1099 employment, but yeah, I personally think it's a little overrated. So we go agree to disagree. And hey, you made fair points because there's a lot of money out here to be made, man. But I feel like I don't know. When I meet 5 people who are actually financially independent and they retire early and they are truly retired, not full-time content creators and stuff like that, then man, those everybody who told me who all the dope people we met at FinCon, they working their ass off, bro.
Hey, but listen, let's talk about what retirement means to specific people, right?
Right.
Retirement to you and I can be completely different because I view retirement as doing something that I enjoy doing, right?
Right.
I like to be around kids, right? I like their I love the vision of kids, right? Because they see the world in such a different vision, right?
Right.
Like I love talking with my kids because they see things and we talk and they can tell me things in a different perspective. I'm like, oh, okay, I forgot about the way it used to look like
Now
that.
let me ask before you finish. You love kids. We know you love your kids. You love other people's kids. I love my kids. Other people's kids, I love them too as a good person, but I don't want to be around no one else's kids.
I know what you're talking about. There are some challenges to some
Right.
but yeah, no lie, bro. I love all the kids, man. When I'm around
Mm,
kids, man, I just like being around them. And there are some they push buttons, right? But
right.
at the same point in time, I look at things, as misguided. That's how I
Right.
like to put it, right? Like kids all have specific tendencies, and the fruit don't fall far from the tree, right? So if you can
Right.
understand why that kid may do specific things, then that kind of helps you understand, all right, this is how I need to approach
Right,
this
right, right.
doing
Right.
something. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a whole nother thing right
So,
there.
so what is your definition of when you get to the point where you're retired? What is your definition of retirement? You and maybe you and your significant other sat down and have a conversation. What does retirement look like for you?
Travel. Like
Mm,
I look at it from the perspective of there's only so many places on earth that a man can go, right? I want to be able to get a chance while I am alive to see these things, document these things, put them down, and pass them on to my children. So, I continue to live on well after I'm gone, right? So put it in my trust, my memoirs and all that stuff is just sitting there. Then my great grandchildren can sit there, this is where he went. He went to the Taj Mahal. He went to this place. Right now, my list is short, right? I've been to
mhm.
Mount Rushmore.
Right,
I've been to
right.
Alaska, stuff like that. That can go in there. But I'm talking about I want to go see the world, right? I want to go out
Right.
and experience different cultures and understand what they go through and pick up different things that they may do and just learn, man, and be part of the energy. That's all, man. So that's my definition right there. Getting out,
Okay.
see in the world.
Yeah, I agree. That's kind of, me and the wife, we big traveling folks. So yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, but we gonna agree to disagree on it, all right? On the overrated and underrated of it. So
I
let me toss out the next one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, number two, financial overrated or underrated. Okay. And I gotta bring up my guy Dame Dash because I'm gonna use his word.
All right.
Being your own boss, entrepreneurship. In
Over.
this finance community, every channel you go to is entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship. So is entrepreneurship or being a 1099 employee, is it overrated or underrated to you?
100% overrated. And I say that very truthfully, right? Because, bro, I
Right,
get up at 4 in the morning to do what I got to do, right? That's
right,
part of the regimen that I do. I get my Kobe on, right?
right,
You will wake up and I'll have ice on my knees already.
right. You already put in the work.
Yeah, I already sweating and everything, right? It's totally overrated because everybody's not built to be the boss. All right.
Right,
If that was the case, then we just would have more bosses naturally. But we
right,
don't because there's a lot of work involved in order to do this. And you have to be very disciplined. And the average person does not have the required discipline it takes to be I'll say, successful boss. You can be a
right,
boss,
right, right,
right? But success requires different energy. And
right.
a lot of people don't have that cloth that they were cut from.
Yeah.
So it's overrated in that sense because it gets sold as this sexy word that you can just go do. But then when you break it down and you open up the manual and you see it's a 10,000 page man, you're like, maybe it's not for me.
Right. Yep, yep. Yeah, hey, I agree, bro. I put entrepreneurship in the overrated category. And I put in the overrated category because I just get every time I see a YouTuber, it's entrepreneurship. Like, yo, let very few people make passive income from their passive income. I feel like we got to put some respect on active income's name. If it wasn't for we use our active income to put us in a position to create passive income. Unless you're a third or fourth generation millionaire and you've inherited passive income and that passive income is making more passive income, most people are working to put that active income to work to get the passive income. But I think the other distinguishing thing we got to understand is entrepreneurship is overrated, and entrepreneurship is a big ass difference from being self employed. Here's the definition. If you're self employed, that means you have to get your ass up, and if your feet don't move, you don't get a
I'll
check.
get the check.
Somebody don't eat. A utility may get cut off. And when you hit entrepreneur status, you can take off. The typical emergency fund is 3 to 6 months. That's the recommendation. For me,
Yeah.
an entrepreneur is someone who can remove themselves from that employment cycle, that entrepreneurship employment cycle for 3 to 6 months, and the business still works like clockwork and generate income. So I feel like everyone says, "Oh, you want," and I understand as an entrepreneur, there's no ceiling on how much money you can make. The sky's the limit.
Yep.
But most people who are entrepreneurs are self-employed. They aren't entrepreneurs. If they don't drop their course, if they don't film that YouTube video, if they don't uh,
He ain't coming.
go collect that rent, if they don't go get that toilet repaired, a check isn't going to come. So I agree with you there. I definitely think that is overrated as hell. I think we need to put some respect on active income's name because you got to use the active to get to that passive that we all want. That's just so I think we're going to agree on that one.
Yes. Yes. I did a podcast specifically on that topic that it was called It's Okay to Have a Job because of that whole thing of people thinking that be their own boss mentality. Look, the world still needs people that check people in at the hospital. The world still needs people who drive you somewhere. All of that stuff is still something that needs to happen. You need your plumbers. Somebody needs to still get you out of a jam in that case, right?
Right, right,
All of
right.
that stuff still needs to happen. So It's okay, man. If you like doing that, ain't nothing wrong with that. Just keep doing that, man. This what I highly recommend is that the money you acquire from that, you just put that to work. Don't sit there and count on that money always coming in because, hey, man, one day you just be walking and boom, hit by a car. Anything can happen, man. So you just got to make sure that that money is put to work. So in the event that you can no longer work, that money is working.
Right. That's hey, good point. Good point. I think this is gonna be our last topic we're gonna hit on, right? And I'm
All
gonna
right.
tell you now, I'm probably gonna chop this up and use this as a solo video because I got a solo video in the stashes about it, but I was like, let me bounce this off somebody else, okay?
All right.
Pinky Cole is the name of the CEO of Slutty Vegan Restaurant. Now, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but Slutty Vegan Restaurant is a vegan fast food restaurant based in Atlanta. A
Yeah.
couple of restaurants popped up. So in 2022, the graduating class of, I believe it was Clark Atlanta University, she gave everyone who graduated an LLC. So everyone who walked across the stage was that was her words was, I want to make everyone an entrepreneur, a CEO. So everyone who graduated received an LLC. Okay, so this isn't a overrated or underrated. Are we're gonna say smart move or not smart move? I'm gonna punt it over to you first.
Not a smart move. And I'm going to say that because, again, everybody is not built for this. Everybody doesn't have the vision that it takes to be a business owner or whatever they may not even know about themselves
Right,
at
right,
that
right,
time.
right,
Because
right,
if you think about it, probably majority of the people who are walking across that stage may have either one, no idea what they're going to do,
right.
or B, if they already have a profession that they're in love with, they're probably going to pursue that profession. So that's nice.
Right, right, right.
Nice idea, you know. But I think the proper way to have, dealt with this is fill this out. Do you want to A, B, or C? And then
Mhm.
if you got somebody who picked A, then you know that they're a strong candidate for an LLC or something. Like,
Right, right, right,
let's
right,
make that more of a targeted approach
right. That's hey.
versus you get a car. You get a car.
She's on a Harpo over Winfrey. You get an LLC.
Yeah.
Everybody get an LLC. Right. You know, um, I hate to give the typical attorney answer to this because I saw, but I'm gonna have to give the typical attorney answer because I'm gonna say it was smart and dumb.
Yeah.
Okay, how was it smart? Goddamn genius from a marketing standpoint because it was in the newspapers and our asses are sitting here talking about it.
Yep.
So from a marketing standpoint, but for her doing this, I wouldn't know what the hell slutty vegan was. I would not know that a woman by the name of Pinky Cole actually existed on the face of this planet Earth. So I'm gonna give her a salute, a smart from a marketing standpoint. The
I got the
cost
name
of
up.
those, the cost of the collective, and I don't know what the graduating class size was, but the cost of filing all of those LLCs, she couldn't pay a marketing firm that much money to get her the
Yeah, that
publicity
much
that this
market.
stunt got. So from a business standpoint, only as it relates to her and slutty vegan, that I think I give her marketing genius on that. Okay,
All right.
so salute to you, sister. That's marketing
Kudos.
genius.
Yep.
Now, so that's the smart part. Now I got to turn to the part where I'm like, I don't know. I'm gonna piggyback with what you said. It's one thing to give everyone an LLC. I think that's dope. But bro, you're looking at the CEO of DFD Creative Media LLC. I filed an LLC. Isn't that goddamn cheap to file an LLC? There are quarterly reports that I have to file and pay for. There are annual reports that I have to file and pay for. And those things come up so frequently, I don't even keep it on my calendar. I pay a company to notify me when these things are done, and when these things are required, and they do them for me. It's worth the cost because I have so much other stuff going on. So one, it's expensive to open and maintain an LLC.
Mhm.
The other thing is, I would like to know of all those people who got LLCs, how many of them are open and are generating either some income or actually being used, you know? And it goes to the point, I don't know if you remember when Nipsey died. It was like when Nipsey died, it was a flux of LLCs that were open surrounding the Marathon Continue movement. And I was like, salute. But I couldn't get too excited because I need to know how many of those LLCs are still in existence 180 days later. You know what I mean? 180 days after those kids graduate, how many of them are dissolved? You know what I mean? How many of them actually put a bit? So I think it was smart from a marketing standpoint, and I think it benefited Slutty Vegan. But I think that the cost that she paid to open an LLC for those students, I feel like she could have used that money to
More effectively.
yeah, in a more effective way. Self-improvement courses. Put them all in the class on the hey, if you're interested in entrepreneurship, is an entrepreneurship course that I'm giving you for free. That where I paid someone to come in. If it was something like that, I would be like, damn, that was a win-win. But just giving out random, when my kids graduate, I'm gonna give them an LLC. Hell nah. That LLC gonna be non-profitable for at least a good 4 or 5 years. And I love my kids, dog. Yeah, man, I'm gonna have to agree with you on that, bro. I think that would hit the nail on the head, and like I said, man, I may have to cut this one out and use this as an independent video.
Hey, man, this is real, man, because everything ain't for everybody.
Right.
That's just how it is, man, and it's all good. Everybody don't need to be bosses. Everybody don't need to own their own company. You can be totally happy going to McDonald's, taking people's orders, and be
Right.
fine with it. You know, there's
Right.
40-year-old, 50-year-old people who go there and with a smile and do their job and go home. And
Right.
listen, you can't knock that person just because that's what they're doing, because
Man.
you don't see yourself doing it. Who are you? That's their life, man.
And you know, as somebody who is a business owner, been in this game for a minute, like dog, I had multiple businesses on several occasions. One of them was a freight brokerage business. I don't know if I ever told this story, but a freight brokerage business, you know, you're in the goods and services department. A freight brokerage business, and this was my thought. I was like, damn, my pops, my pops is the greatest financial story I ever seen in history. I remember when my pops was homeless and he went to owning a big rig trucking company, having multiple truck drivers and trucks and vehicles. And so when he was doing that, I was like, man, how do you get these loads to deliver the goods and service? When he explained it to me, I said, freight brokerage, you're just the middleman between the buyer and the shipper to get the goods from A to B, and you don't need a truck. It's literally all on the app. I go on the app and say, I got such and such load going from New York.
Can you backload this?
Yeah, going from New York to South Carolina, I may get $3 a mile. If you pay somebody $2 a mile, that's way higher than what companies are paying people if you're an owner operator of your own truck. But I know by paying $2 a mile, I'm not doing anything. And I know for $2 a mile, that's probably almost 70 cents more per mile than what you would get from a very good deal. You're going to get that shit there and it's going to be on time. When you work for yourself, that's the hardest work you ever gonna do in your life. When you work for somebody else, you could go to the water cooler. I could go to your office and me and you could shoot the shit for 20 minutes talking about sports and hip hop. When you work for yourself, you ain't got time to be shooting the shit.
Yep. Nope. Get out of here, dog. I got a video to edit. That's cool and all, but I got to record this podcast. You got to go.
Right. Definitely, bro. That's how it is, man. But hey, man, I think that's what we're going to close it out with, man. But I want to definitely thank you for blessing the channel and talking more about it. Again, if y'all still here with us, check out the description box, and I'm going to pin it as the first pinned video in the comment. It's going to be a link to a video where you can go check out the Wincrease team, check out their channel. And this video is going to explain, hey, this is a stock chart. This is how you, play defense and protect your money. And if you need the nerdy, more nerdy version, this is how you do the actual a technical analysis of reading the stock chart. Because I tell you, I thought about having the technical and go through identifying the points of resistance and all of that. But I said, you know what? I feel like is that should be an isolated video and it'll be more palatable for people to take outside of just that conversation. So I didn't want to ruin that conversation. So I definitely appreciate you for tuning in and joining us on this, man. Let everybody know where you at, where they can catch the podcast, where they can find you on YouTube, TikTok, and all that, and where they could go when we can expect a freestyle battle, a freestyle competition, because your boy got that heat over here.
Yeah, you can find me any social media platform that's at Wincrease Team. That's every last one of them. That's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all of that. Those two dying platforms, Facebook and Instagram. You can still find me on there, but yeah, at Wincrease Team. And then as far as the charting goes, check out the YouTube page. Like what makes me different from every other page out there is that I go through this on a weekly series, because when I first started looking at this, I was trying to find somebody who can show me what's going on in real time, because it's always easy to go back and say, yeah, in 2008, this is what happened. And then if you would have did XYZ then boom, you would have this now, right? Okay, but that's '08. We're right now in 2022, about to approach 23 and looking at a recession. Now what, dog? What are we gonna do? Like,
Right.
I'll look at it from the perspective of this is real time. So each chart, what also separates me is I get real, we use the sexy word intimate, right? I get real intimate with stuff, right?
Yeah, there's very white voice on.
I get into the charts, right? We don't just look at it from the perspective of far out, right? We zoom in, we look at candles individually. I explain things in a very simplistic nature. And like I said, I feel like I'm probably the best at telling it in the most basic understanding and then making it correlate to real life. So make sure you check that out and hit me up if y'all got any questions.
Hey man, we appreciate you, brother. Hey, everybody who tuned in, everybody who commented. Hey, we appreciate the love and support. Y'all be blessed. Have a good weekend. We signing out. Peace.
Peace.